turn their mics on. Sorry. It's so loud in here, you might need those. Okay. I welcome everyone to the Port Angeles School District Board of Directors meeting, February 27th, 2025. I'm going to ask Casey McDonald to please read our introduction to our board meeting.
Please note that this meeting is open to the public and is recorded. There will be a portion of the meeting reserved for community comments. Agenda items will be addressed as listed on the agenda. For in-person community comments, please use the sign-up sheet located in the hallway to share your comments. When it is your turn to speak, your name will be called. Before making your comments, please state your name and address. You will have 3 minutes to speak. If you are viewing the meeting via YouTube and have submitted comments before the meeting, they will be read during the community comments time. In the future, if you have comments that you would like to share with the Board of Directors, please email Casey McDonald, the Executive Assistant to the Superintendent at cmcdonald@portangelesschools.org by 4 p.m. the night of the board meeting. If you have any concerns about individual district employees or specific complaints that require an administrative response, please contact the Office of the Superintendent directly.
Thank you, Casey. With that, roll call. We're all here. Yay. And we begin every meeting with the flag salute. So if you join me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Now I'll ask Director Hebert to read our acknowledgement of tribal lands.
We acknowledge that we are on the indigenous lands of Coast Salish peoples who have reserved territory rights to this land, specifically the Quorum tribes. We thank these caretakers of this land who have lived and continue to live here since time immemorial.
Thank you. All right, so agenda. How does the agenda look?
Good.
Good?
Short.
Short, sweet, to the point. Okay, consent agenda. The purpose of the consent agenda is to recognize routine matters. Do I have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I move to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Excellent. So, Casey, do you have any correspondence for us?
No, I don't.
No correspondence. All right, just lickety-split like that. We're down to 6.01. And I would like to read a letter in recognition of some of our staff members. On behalf of the Port Angeles School District, we extend our deepest gratitude and heartfelt appreciation for the extraordinary actions taken by the staff at Stevens Middle School on January 14th, 2025. Your quick thinking, professionalism, and unwavering dedication to student safety saved a young life that day. Demonstrating the true essence of what it means to be an educator and caregiver. When faced with an unthinkable emergency, you responded with urgency, skill, and compassion. The immediate and decisive actions taken when the student was found unresponsive in the restroom were nothing short of heroic. Your ability to remain calm under pressure, apply critical life-saving measures, and work seamlessly as a team ensured that a student in crisis was given the best possible chance at survival. Moments like these remind us all of the profound impact school staff have beyond the classroom. You are more than educators. You are protectors, mentors, and lifelines for the students entrusted to your care. The selflessness and dedication displayed by the Stevens Middle School staff on that day exemplify the highest standards of service, professionalism, and humanity. The Port Angeles School District, along with our Board of Directors, recognizes and commends each of you for your incredible efforts. Your actions did not go unnoticed, and we are profoundly grateful for the care and commitment you demonstrate each and every day. With deepest appreciation, us. If I could have joining us up front, Melissa McBride, Michael Miller, Leanne Mandeville, Sarah Pierce, Darren Mills, Donald Bland, and Christine Spalding. We have a little. And, yeah, I'll give these out well. Oh, good, I'm not the only one. I have a little bit of horizontal thing. The notes. Michael. Here. Okay.
And I have a few words to say. So, this event, you know, I don't use the word hero or heroes lightly. In fact, I don't remember the last time I heard some individual or group of individuals, but you certainly don't. I am, as the leader of this district, forever grateful for your actions on that day, and very appreciative of the privilege you do each and every day to do that. As an example of what took place on this day, the audience here, after this event, it's common when you have a medical incident for emergency responders to debrief and have time to grieve through a very traumatic event. And so I reached out to the chief of police, and Brian and I are good friends. I asked him for resources to carry that out as they do for emergency responders. And he connected me with the individual that coordinates that and also a chaplain. And so when the dialogue continued around trying to set up a date and a time for a debrief, the individual, as I was trying to partner it with the emergency responders that were on site that day helping this young lady in our schools. And the response I got, and I don't think anybody even here listened like this, the response I got from the PD with the PHP was, well, we're not going to do a debrief. You're not. Why wouldn't you do a debrief? Because the actions of your staff saved a life. And when we got there, and the emergency responders got there, we just transported. That is hero. That is amazing. So for your actions on that day, from all of us in this room, the entire district and community, very heartfelt thank you for your efforts. I'm very appreciative. I'll forever be indebted to you. So thank you very much.
I believe we have a certain young lady who would like to come up and, no, would not like to come up? Okay, would not like to come up. But I promise, she's great. So thank you all very so much, okay? That's all I can say. I'll try again. I don't want to try.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna pull it together. It's one of those kind of big days. All right. So that takes us to 6.02, and things are just going to keep on with the tears. 6.02, we're going to go with our Students of the Month. That's you, Brittany.
Yes, and I'm going to actually invite my sixth grade teachers up here, Mrs. Bradshaw and Mrs. Williams, to help introduce our.
Absolutely.
Hi, I'm John Williams, sixth grade, Franklin. I would like to present to you Nola Purple. She's an all-around exceptional student and my choice for Student of the Month.
Would you turn your microphone on? I'm sorry, so that you just push the button. Green is on. Great, thank you so much.
Nola Perkle. She consistently demonstrates strong academic performance, makes positive contributions to our classroom and our school community, and by her humble and kind example leads other students as a role model. Nola arrives every day with a smile on her face and attacks every new challenge with optimism and hard work and grace. She's committed to producing quality work. I get all of her work on time, quality, and turned in. She gives a seriousness to school that it deserves, but still approaches it with humor and positivity, which I appreciate a lot. Nola is courteous and kind, has manners, polite to everyone, students and staff alike. She cooperates with others. She can work in any group with any student and is positive and keeps student on task, showing a high degree of self-control and maturity, and also has a quiet, subtle way of making them all feel welcomed and valued and heard, which is a super great quality. Nola is a well-rounded young lady, and I am proud to say she is worthy of receiving this award.
Okay, I'm gonna have Jane Curran come up. Jane. I nominated Jane for several reasons, but the main thing that strikes me about Jane, observing her through this past year, is that she approaches everyone, I think, with kindness first and also with boundaries for herself. And it's really admirable because I feel like that shows respect for others and respect for herself, which in 6th grade I think is just a really huge, mature feat and something that I just personally admire about her. She works really hard at school. Just like Nola, she takes it very seriously. She comes to school as if it's her job. And another reason that I really respect Jane, she has to work for her grades. She's working really hard every day for every assignment. She doesn't just sort of let an assignment sort of phone it in or drop it. She's working hard every single thing she turns in. And the thing that stood out to me the most was her Egypt project. It's a big project that we do in 6th grade, and it runs the gamut of students who are kind of rushing the night before to students who, have really dedicated and spent a lot of time. And Jane really took it upon herself to make it her own. She didn't have help from her parents. Her mom told me this was something she was very focused on for herself, and she built a very, very cool 3-dimensional pyramid inside, what is it called? It's a diagram.
Yeah.
No.
It was like cut.
Diorama, that's what it was. It was a 3-dimensional diorama that split, and it was just really obvious that she put her heart and soul into it, and it just really impressed me. I love having Jane in my class every day, and she's fully deserving of being recognized today for this award. So thank you, Jane.
All sorts of things. And a lot of reading. I feel like I know so much. All right. Congratulations, ladies. Very proud of you. We, as a school board, have a little thing we read to you. It's the same for both. This certificate is awarded for outstanding dedication, positive attitude, and exemplary behavior. This student exemplifies what it means to be a good student, friend, and citizen, inspiring others and making a meaningful impact on our school community. Congratulations on this well-deserved recognition. Good job. So now is your favorite part, but guess what? It's going to not be your parents' favorite part either. Anybody who has touched these children in any educational or life way, come on up here. We want to get your picture with these little. I know, I said it was going to be your favorite. Come on.
They take a great school picture. This is like one of the best 6th grade pictures. Mine looked insane.
You guys can do it together in the
Yeah,
center,
all
not
of you
each
come up.
other.
Your parents come up,
Teachers.
please.
Okay, yeah.
Grandparents.
Grandparents, anybody here affiliated
Siblings.
with these schools, please come forward.
You're on.
Get right in.
Two of my favorites.
Casey, how's the width?
Oh, that's all right. I'll go right back over here.
All right, raccoons on three. 1, 2, 3. Raccoons.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, families.
Oh, if you guys don't have to stay for the rest of this, that's our guarantee.
Yeah. Unless you want to.
All right. All right, so good evening. This year I get to stand in front of you guys having been here last year, so you do know me a little, but Brittany Martin, Principal of Franklin, and I am just excited tonight to try to give you guys a little glimpse of some of the things that are happening at Franklin. I'm going to move fairly quickly through these slides because I have a lot of them and I know I have a short amount of time. And so if there's any questions that you guys have upon reviewing them at a different time, please reach out and let me know. So at Franklin, our mission and vision is to foster a commitment to the love for lifelong learning. And then our vision is every day we learn and grow. And that is something that the kids have heard for a long time. When Mr. Lunt was there, they heard it. I say it on the intercom every morning. So that is something that is very ingrained in our Franklin culture. We have about 320 students. Can you guys hear me okay if I don't? Okay, perfect. About 60% of those students are receiving free and reduced, and we have over 20% of our kiddos that have an IEP are receiving special education services. This year we have about 21 certified teachers. We have 3 units of first and third grade, 1 unit of fifth grade, and the rest of the grades are 2 units in our building. And we have about 18 paraeducators and 1 AmeriCorps working on our campus this year, as well as 2 R2 classrooms. Whoops. Hold on, just got to figure out the right direction. All right, so let me back up. I'll say year 1 last year was very much focused on me getting to know my staff, understanding what systems were already in place, what was working really well, where those areas were that we wanted to grow at. And I was really fortunate to walk into a situation that there was already a ton of amazing things happening in the building and amazing teachers. But being in year 2, it's been really exciting to be able to take a deeper dive into looking at some of the systems that were in place or maybe needed to be in place that we've been able to really work collaboratively as a staff to start to design and work through. And so this process, this graphic, you guys have probably seen it around MTSS, but all of those pieces, they're interconnected and you are moving between them and you never arrive at one where you've got it perfectly down. And so that really sums up where we're at. We're having a lot of conversations. It's about being flexible, it's about being reflective, it's about being responsive and really keeping that as a central part of our culture and our PLC as a building. And so in ELA, this slide is giving you guys a quick overview of what we are doing within each tier. So tier 1 being that whole group instruction that every single child is getting in the classroom. It talks about the different curriculums, which grade level, who's delivering it. The yellow is tier 2, and so those are the students that they still receive tier 1, but they need something a little more. They might not fully understand the curriculum. Again, a lot of that work is going to be driven by the teacher in the classroom, but that is also where we start to look at some of our other school-wide systems of support and how we can come alongside teachers and support them in the work that they are doing to fill some of those holes. And then tier 3, it's that triple dip. So they've had both, but they still need a little bit more. So this slide, it is our MAPS data, and what it shows is that between fall and winter of this year in ELA, we were in the 57th percentile for growth. And so growth is the number that we get the most excited about because that's what's going to give us that slow climb in achievement, right? If every year our growth is increasing, we're going to see our achievement increase as well. And what you don't see on this slide is this graphic of this year. It is an increase from last year. And so that's exciting to be able to look at it year from year and look at our MAPS data and see that achievement slowly climbing. So in the fall, our achievement with ELA was the 55th percentile, and in the winter, we were up to the 59th percentile. That little graph down below, it shows that pretty much all of our grades are in the quadrant that is high growth and high achievement. And again, that's where we want to be. We want to see the high growth and the high achievement. Oh, sorry, I'll figure this clicker out here at some point. I'm going to reverse it. There we go. So some of the key shifts, reflecting on what we were doing the year prior to where we made some adjustments this year, are we provided RTI for all grades. So last year, 6th grade did not receive RTI. This year, all grades had at least a 30-minute RTI. Additionally, we really did a deep dive into looking at how we did kindergarten, and I'm going to touch on those graphs in just a moment, but kindergarten moved up to 40 minutes of instruction instead of 30. We moved the instruction into the classroom in order to increase the instructional time and lose some of that transition time. And there were some other shifts that happened within that RTI team and the kindergarten teachers and the way that they were delivering instruction. I'm going to kind of move us up to those graphs real quick because those have to do with kindergarten, but this is our DIBELS data. And again, this is reflective of the shift that was made specific to kindergarten this year. And at the beginning of last year, we had 77% of kindergartners that were in the red and yellow, so kids that were not at standard, which is very normal for fall in kindergarten, right? Most kids are not at standard at fall in kindergarten. But in the winter, in the middle of the year when we did DIBELS last year, we still had 74% of kids that were not where they needed to be. And by the end of the year, we had made some decent progress, but still not quite where we wanted to be. This year, we started the year with 83% of our kindergartners in the red and yellow, and by our mid-year data, 66% of them are in the green and blue. So we only have 33% of our kindergartners that still are in the red and yellow. So that is huge, really exciting growth. Yeah, and we had our kindergarten teachers actually put an awesome presentation together. They shared it with staff. Our staff is having collaborative conversations about that, right? How can we carry some of those pieces over into other grade levels, RTI? So that's the kind of data that just gets us going with exciting conversations and really putting our brains together to figure out how we can serve all kids better, right? That's the goal. So additionally, I added another dip of paraeducators into kindergarten and 1st grade as kind of that triple dip in order to really provide remediation, and we increased 2nd grade RTI to 40 minutes. I'm really going backwards here. Okay, in math, you have the same graph here, just a quick glance at that Tier 1 instruction and some of the things that we're doing for Tier 2 and Tier 3. And some of our key shifts in math, one of the big things, and we're still visiting this, there's some pieces that have worked really well, and then as we go through the process, there's some things that stand out that we're like, ooh, we need a better system to help address this part of what we were trying to do, and that's just always going to be part of the process. But we started the year as a staff really having a conversation around the math essential standards, and we worked within vertical teams to do back mapping, so basically looking at the standards vertically and understanding which ones are what Eureka calls the bridges up standards and which ones are heavy traffic standards. So bridges up, you're not visiting again in the next grade. Heavy traffic means that we taught it in kinder, we're going to teach it again in 1st grade. And we started to have conversations around these to really nail down where we're going to get the biggest bang for our buck with our math intervention paras that are working with kids and how to focus that. And so that's really, we've been doing what we're calling the learning workshop, where we have our AmeriCorps and a math para that's helping do some remediation, and then just talking a lot about it as a team. Again, talking about where our holes are, because there are still holes that we need to address. But what we've seen in math this year is, again, growth from last year as well. Our growth percentile was in the 53rd. Our achievement moved from the 52nd to the 56th. And what you're seeing on that bottom graph, those are the kids that received math intervention, between those dates from the AmeriCorps and paraeducator. And we went ahead and pulled their growth data to look at their percentile. And there's a bit of a spread there, but there's a lot. That dark green, 99th percentile, 96th, 92nd, 99th. I mean, that's when you're having growth percentiles up in the high 90s, that's exciting stuff. So that is telling us that those interventions that we're putting in place, specifically with these kids, are showing us some great growth. We also are fortunate to have 2 Resource 2 classrooms. I'm not going to read all these points. I'm just going to read the first 2 because of time, and there's a cute little video I want to show you. But again, these are just some shout outs from the R2 teacher with some success points. So a first grade student is now able to read at kindergarten level due to the diligence of his one-to-one pair that works with him daily. They found a new language program, and this is exciting because statistically, fewer than 10% of non-speaking autistic people ever become literate according to the National Institute of Health. And we have this kiddo that he's killing it. He's learning to read. He's talking more than he ever has before. We've had a kindergarten student who's decreased her physical aggressive behaviors from an average of 50 incidences per week to 4. Again, she's gone from being unable to trace a diagonal line to now copying full sentences. So major growth academically, behaviorally. And I want to share with you guys, Casey, if you can click on that little link, a video back from October, which was Disability Awareness Month. It's 3 minutes, but it's adorable. So I wanted to share that with you. If not, you guys can watch it later if it doesn't work. I don't want to take too much time. Okay, I'm gonna keep going, and then Casey, let me know. It's okay. I encourage you guys to watch it later because it is adorable. It's a 3-minute video that features some of our kiddos in R2 and some of our Gen Ed kids who push in and support them, and it is very neat. So I would encourage you to watch it later. Oh. So next up on the slide, it's talking about our social emotional learning. And so this is when we talk about our MTSS work, this is a huge piece of it. And thanks to the position that was created by the board last year, we have been able to hire some additional support in this position. And again, you guys can look back at this, but this is just that quick glance at the different tiered pieces where we're working together as a staff with our counselor playing a huge role in the tier 1 piece this year, our behavior specialists that share that role that are doing small groups and different check-ins with kids, and then of course our R1 staff and our R2 staff that's doing some great work with kiddos. We've been using the Character Strong Tier 2 curriculum, and so we've been using the 4 overarching categories of coping, regulation, relationships, and self-management. And that is kind of as we've designed our universal screener and have been working to design ways to collect data around kids' needs in this area. Those are kind of our 4 categories that we're identifying where the most support is needed and delivering instruction connected with those 4 areas. And so these graphs, again, this is an area we're kind of really having good conversation about how to measure it best, because we all know social emotional it's a long journey, right? It's not just like looking at growth data from math curriculum. But what we can see from these graphs is that the top one is just kind of showing where kids flagged the most in cycle 1 and 2 in terms of how their teachers rated the needs and what we were seeing. And then the second graph is showing, we kind of got our stuff together on cycle 2 where we were able to provide support to all kids identified, as opposed to the first cycle, we only provided support to a smaller group while we were building that system. Again, Casey, if you can play this one, I'm just going to fast forward to the last minute and a half to set the stage. This is one of our SEL behavior specialist. She's done a few of these episodes with students focusing on SEL skills, and so there's some real cute anchors at the beginning, and there's different things they're talking about, but I was just going to play the last minute and a half to give you guys a little flavor of it, if it works. No? Is that a no-go too? You can't see that. You have it? Well, okay. And again, if the good news is you guys have access to this whole slide deck, and so again, if you just kind of check out the first little bit of it, and then maybe the last minute of half of it, you're going to see some really cute kids talk about our kindness tree and just some of the other things that are happening at Franklin. So again, another very cute video I recommend you take a look at. And then just a couple. Oh, is it working now? So yeah, if you want to fast forward to just the last minute and a half, that would be great. I think that's like the 9.5 minute mark.
Sing next, I can just focus.
Keep
on
going a
what-
little bit more, just to when you see the anchors again.
how much. So making friends isn't magic. It's just one simple step.
This is a segment on making friends. Okay, here we go.
This week, it's time to check in on the gratitude garden. Every time someone adds to the garden, they're planting a seed of kindness. We'll hear from a student what gratitude means to them and take a look at what Franklin is grateful for this week. Let's go to the garden. Gratitude means being thankful for the good things in our lives. It makes us feel happier. The gratitude garden is a way to show that we are thankful.
I'm grateful for my mom, my dad, my brother, and my mom, and my brother, and my cat, and my dog.
I am grateful for being a teacher at Franklin.
I'm thankful for my mom and dad.
I am thankful for the sunshine. I enjoy the warmth and being out in nature.
I'm thankful for the Roblox Stores content update. I'm thankful for everything. I'm thankful for Ethan, Mom, and Dad. I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for food, Orion.
That's it for today's Bright Spot. We hope you remember to keep going, keep breathing, and keep spreading gratitude. And don't forget, working together makes everything better. See you next time.
So again, it's a sweet little project that one of our teachers has taken on that the kids just teach breathing skills and different things on there. So that is your glimpse of the Bright Spot. It's okay. It's okay if they want to watch it later. I know I'm getting close here on time. I know, it is very cute. It is very, very cute, the other video. And then the last couple slides, really this I was just going to shine a light on. We're starting this project with our MTSS team, and I'm still learning about it. So I can't share too much about it with you at this point. But what I do know is we have some really great people, Ashley Beard with the ESD, who's going to be coming on as a coach, and we're working with our team to just have a conversation around some of our goals at the school and looking at data and working that process. And so I'm excited to walk through that with her, with the MTSS team, because it's a process that we're going to be able to use as a staff as a whole to go through other data points. So that is something else we are working on this year. It's a 2-year project. And then finally, family and community, continuing the Raccoon Roundup, donuts and discussions where families can come in. And we made a big shift to Class Dojo this year. So we went from only a couple teachers using it to our whole staff is using Class Dojo as our main form of communication. And the great thing about Dojo is it just, again, I think videos and pictures, there's a lot of power in helping families feel included and get a glimpse into what's going on. And so these are just some fun pictures I pulled off of Dojo from different postings that teachers have made, snow days, anything but a backpack day, different 6th grade Shark Tank presentations and art projects, reading buddies, science from the National Park, ancient Egyptian projects, snow paintings, just fun things that parents get to pull up the app and see pictures in real time or at the end of the day of what's happening in school. So I love that we have the ability to do that with Dojo. And a few more cute pics of some of our traditions, selfie with an Elfie. We do that each December. The kids have fun with that. We continue to do our character strong recognition based off of our character traits. Raccoon Recognition Day is really, the theme is celebrate what you want to see more of. So teachers get to nominate like 6 kids in their class each month when we do this. So we recognize about 75 kids over the course of that day, and it can be for anything, whatever the teacher wants to recognize them for. And that's just another positive contact home to tell families something that they're appreciating. Spirit days are always fun. We have one coming up tomorrow. My favorite things. It's very vague. So it's going to be an interesting day tomorrow to see all the different favorite things that show up as a spirit day. And then finally, I have to end this with just a spotlight on my staff, because they truly are the heart of Franklin, the heart of this school. Clearly, you can see from some of these pictures, we did a little photo shoot in December, and the theme was intended to be corny, as you can tell. So our custodian has his custodial partner with him, glaring, just gazing into the vacuum's eyes. You know, some other just random, fun, silly photos. And so it was pretty fun. We got a great giggle that morning, and people just got to go down and pick different poses. And so these are them. Those are the rock stars of Franklin that make it go round every single day. And I just cannot express enough how grateful I am to be at this school, because the staff is phenomenal. Every single staff member is phenomenal, and they truly are the heart of the school, and none of the work, none of the growth, none of the things that I'm sharing with you guys would be possible without their passion and creativity. And so these guys are really the star of the show here, but thank you for letting me show you a little bit of what's going on at Franklin tonight. So, yeah.
Thank you. That was great. Does anybody have any specific Franklin questions they want to ask?
I have a comment about your ELA.
Yeah, it's exciting. It is. It's very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks. And it's exciting because it's a jumping off point to just see where we go from here, right? So that's what I'm most excited about, is that's one grade, but you put all these guys together and their thought power together with that, and sky's the limit.
You'll be having a new school before you know it. It's going to be
Right?
amazing.
I know, we're going to miss that story pit a little bit, but
Great team. Thank you.
yeah. Thank you guys.
Good stuff that's going to go into that building. 'cause
Yes.
That's what counts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Thank you for your time.
Real quick.
Yes.
So, one, thank you for the staff coming out tonight. I appreciate it. To Brittany and staff, in the tail end of the presentation there, I love seeing all of the fun that you guys have. We work hard in education, you work hard in education, and it's great to stop and take the time to celebrate the good work. So nice job there. In your presentation, 2 things that stuck out to me. One, I really appreciate you highlighting your R2 successes. Great job there, and great job to the teachers of the R2 program and the work that they're doing. And then the last thing that I want to comment on that really resonated with me was the kindergarten data, but what you did with the kindergarten data to highlight that work with the rest of your staff, to share the good work, to not only feel gratification for that work, but also share the PLC concept around we can do this together. So
Absolutely.
phenomenal job. And to
thank
the
you.
staff, thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Now the mass exodus to get ready for tomorrow's day at school. All right, CTE, you're up.
That was good. That was really good.
So I don't think I'll ever not be nervous about this. You guys are all fantastic. Still very nervous. And I don't even know why. Sorry. So I get the pleasure of starting off our CTE presentation today. And I get to share some amazing things we're doing in Port Angeles School District and opportunities our kids have. Next, not sure how it's going.
They're still having fun.
Yeah, they're out there celebrating because it's done and they did amazing. So this first slide, and Jen has some stuff for each of you guys to share. we have fantastic skilled people from industry who get to come in and help our students learn real applicable life skills that they can use forever in their jobs, in their hobbies, things that will help them really build their abilities and their skills. So the first one is a mirror of this slide, which is all of these programs that we offer in Port Angeles. It's second to none. You just don't see a school district with as many opportunities for kids as we have. And so it's broken down into 3 different areas. We have Port Angeles High School, Lincoln High School, and Stevens Middle School. So, and then the little card, last year, Jen remembered that somebody wanted something to pull out and talk about the amazing things that we do in Port Angeles.
I'm putting
So-
this in my wallet.
It's laminated. It is ready for you to pull out. Anytime anybody says that we don't teach our kids to measure, please help them see something on there that we absolutely do. If kids want an opportunity in any of these areas, they have it. And we have, with the 7 periods, they have a lot of opportunity to fill their day with things that make them excited. Next page, please. And so, this slide gets to show that we've continued to grow in CTE. We have continued to offer exceptional programs and given kids opportunities in more and more ways. And then one thing that we specifically wanted to highlight this year is in order to help our 8th grade students know what they're registering for, know what opportunities they have, be able to meet their teachers, we are bringing back the CTE tours for our 8th grade students. So on March 13th, our 8th graders from not only Stevens, but now, thanks Jeff for his connection, at Queen of Angels, we're gonna have those students up as well. So they're prepared to register for their classes and really know what it is that they get to do when they get to the high school. And so it's really about framing it too, right? Like we want them to understand that they get to do all of these things. There's so many opportunities. So now I'm going to pass it to my fabulous coworker here, Jen Rogers, who is the CTE coordinator and in her director's program. So she is going to take it from here. And I'm short, so we shouldn't have a problem.
I just won't back up. All right, I apologize for my voice. I'm getting over a cold, so hopefully I can make it through this and not lose my voice. So one of the things that we really wanted to highlight is our dual credit opportunities. We work with both Peninsula College and Olympic College for the articulation, so students are able to actually get high school credit and college credit at the same time. We have a number with Peninsula College, and so with Olympic College, I'm working with them right now on a few additional ones. I apologize, I only had 6 of those ones. I'll have to. So the classes, though, the opportunity for the kids too is that once they get to college, then they already have these college credits. And one of the things that we're really working on too is the additional dual credit opportunities. Right now I'm talking with them in regards to environmental science, health, marine biology, also our Wildcat Cafe that we have here at the Lincoln Center, and yearbook are all options for, as well as they're in the process right now of welding 3 at Olympic College. So these programs are great opportunities for kids to also keep them here at the high school and invested in what we're doing here, but they also get college credit. So it's a double whammy for them, you know, as far as getting that opportunity when they get out, but still keeping them in our school system and having them part of what we're doing. So I'm excited about the new opportunities there this year. We also, with Marty's help, we have a $25,000 grant that comes from the Horizon Gates Foundation, and that is to increase our dual credits and our articulations, and as well as our FAFSA completers in getting kids into post-secondary. And you would think post-secondary CTE, we always have that where we're looking for kids for all different opportunities, but this is a great opportunity for our kids, and the money is there to help them. We're really wanting to increase what we're doing with our dual credit options in the college. So that money will go a long ways to helping us explore more for all of our classes that we offer at the high schools. Obviously, we can't do it at the middle school, but the idea is to be vertically aligned so that when they are taking their classes at the middle school, then they're making that next step to the high school, and then the dual credit gives them the college and gives them a pathway forward. And so that's really what we're focusing on there. Next, 24, 25 so far. I am really excited. This year we really looked at our work-based learning program. And the idea, there's two versions of it. There's work-based learning, there's work-site learning. Work-site learning is where you go out and you do an internship or an apprenticeship. Work-based learning is something that we are tagged by the government or the state to make sure that we are meeting that and we're giving kids all the opportunities. And one of the things is to have a guest speaker, but to meet that work-based learning, they also have to go on a field trip. And this year, we've been able to do so many different field trips with so many different student groups. It's been an amazing opportunity for our students to get out and to see what it was truly like. The pictures that you're seeing at the top there, I was able to go with them on that. We went to the University of Washington, and we were able to see a Division I sports medicine program. And so they were actually able to go into their training rooms, see what it's like. We were able to go out on the field, the football field, and then go into the training rooms. Because of course, at a Division I level, there's all sorts of things that those kids have never been able to see. And so it was a great opportunity. We've gone down to the lower Elwha. We've done our try-a-trade. You can see up there, there's a number. We've been to the Olympic College. I'm going to talk a little bit about our Core Plus Maritime in a minute here. NJROTC is going to be going to the Coast Guard Station at the end of the month of March. And a few of those kids also get to ride in the helicopter there. So just some great opportunities for our kids to see. I mean, what we're always trying to do is invest in them and make sure that they're seeing that there's tons of different pathways and opportunities for them. So the more that we can get them out and see those things, the better. So I'm really excited about everything that we've done so far, and we still have some trips coming up. Casey, do you want to go? This was the environmental science and marine biology. They went down to the lower Elwha. We were very lucky to have Kira Mathis come back to the high school this year, and she's teaching marine biology. The kids had a great time, and they were able to actually explore and do all this. So this was one of the field trips that we were able to do. If you want to go to the next one, Casey. Sorry about that. This is engineering at Olympic College. So the top two are the engineering students, and they were able to see everything that once they graduate from Port Angeles, then they can go on and what those opportunities look like at that next level. They're actually able to experience some of the equipment as well. The bottom pictures are the Writer News crew, and they actually went into all their video programming and got to see what they're able to do at that level. So those two were great field trips. They went together, but it was a great field trip for both groups to really be able to see what does the future, what can it hold for them. Okay. The top one, the MV Coho tour. We're all well aware of the Coho here, and this was an incredible opportunity for our Core Plus Maritime. We went when they had a down period between two of the sailings. The kids actually got to use the fire hose. I didn't include that picture, but they actually got to see what it was like to use the fire hose, what it would be like to launch one of the boats. They toured the engine room, which there are some small spaces in there that are not designed for tall people like me. I just want you to know that.
No problem.
No problems for her. They went to the bridge. It was great. Captain Ben Rowland toured the kids around, and when we were done, we were waiting for him to take off, and a number of the kids were like, I could do this. And you could see that they saw that there was a progression there. They talked about how for the Coho, their deckhands first, and then they talked to a number of people that moved from deckhands and are now in the engine room and all the different possibilities. And I think it really gave the kids hope that there is something that I can do. Like when I walk out of here, there's opportunities. And then our leadership groups, our CTSOs, this was SIA, so this year we were able to include Lincoln to go to FBLA, their conference, DECA Leadership Conference, and then SIA also went to Port Townsend and learned how to make ramen, and it's my understanding that they actually did that for the Rotary Club that came in here in the building, and they made ramen for them. So it was a great, connection for them to understand what was happening there. Core Plus Maritime. This is kind of, one of my favorite projects right now that I'm working on because of all the community relationships and the support, and most importantly, what the students are getting out of it. You can talk to the students. They're excited to come to class. They're excited about what they're learning. They're excited about everything they're doing. 2 weeks ago, we went to see the coho and dry dock at Dakota Creek Shipyard, and they were able to walk around and see what an actual shipyard looks like. It was a fantastic tour for the kids. Corpus Maritime is a statewide program. I went to their luncheon. They named us the top rookie all-star program. They were so excited about all the things that we were doing. And so that recognition too. The picture over here is with Captain Ben Rowland from the coho. This is actually from Hakama Group. That is, oh, I totally just dropped John. I'm sorry, I totally just dropped his name. John Meyer, he was great. He actually brought in a thing that like scanned the entire room, and at the end, the kids could literally see how the 3D scanner worked and how they use that when they're building things. They do all naval architecture, and so Aero Marine Group, Black Ball Ferry, and Hakama Group, all three local entities, have really stepped up and had been a major component of what we're doing for Corpus Maritime. So there's community buy-in too. They want to see our kids step up and be able to do new things. And so it's really, really exciting. This is the backside of the coho and dry dock, and that is a $150 million yacht that's being built. I don't know for who, so, but yeah. So they got to see some pretty amazing, the group has been doing some amazing stuff, and Jake Helpenstell, the instructor that we brought on this year, is really like the kids, they've just melted together really well and understanding, and Jake has a great way with those students. They've all had some issues as far as attendance, and they're excited to be there. They're excited to come each day, so it's exciting to see what that program has brought. Very exciting news too is we got 2 Core Plus grant fundings this year. The aerospace grant is $46,770. The maritime is $40,150. I put some of the big ticket items on here for you. There's a lot of things that we're going to be able to get. And the exciting part of all of this is like the MIG welder. And I actually have used that. It's kind of crazy. I know, huh? I have MIG welded. But what our kids can learn. So we went to Safe Boats. Unfortunately, it wasn't for the students. It was for our instructors. And that was where I did that. But the kids are actually going to learn how to MIG weld. So they can go out to Safe Boats and have that already ready to go. Safe Boats came in and spoke to the kids as well. And so these are all tools that they're going to use in industry. And so we're now going to have them in our shops, and the kids are going to be able to learn how to use them ahead of time. This is a tube bender. Please don't ask me anymore. It bends tubes. This is the mill. This is a lathe. And then we've got both the welders that we got. And we've been great as far as the maintenance has been able to really help us make sure that we've got all the right power and everything. And so the kids are starting to actually be able to build, hopefully eventually build like a small aluminum boat, see how it works. So it's very exciting.
Who picked the items?
Both the instructors picked the items. It was better that way.
I think you're an expert.
Oh,
I can
thank
tell
you.
Already.
Can you tell because of the tube bending?
Yeah, it looks like a bent tube to me.
Yeah, I know, huh? I'm all for it.
Bicycles with that thing.
Yeah, it's a win.
If you'd like to know, I could tell you all about how the MIG welder works and the difference between a TIG and a MIG welder. I'll hold that for another discussion, but I can actually do that now, so, okay, yeah. So it's very exciting to see because we're both new in both those program areas, and this year we were able to get the grants for both those program areas to really increase what the kids are able to learn, so. CTE classroom happenings. This was super exciting. This is sports medicine. They actually came in. This student made the most perfect cast mold, and I actually sent that picture to Coach Poindexter of Lexi in a cast. This was right before season started.
He must have freaked.
And he did. And he did not think it was funny. I personally thought it was very funny, but they did such a good job, and they learned how to cast. And then they got to cut the cast off and see what the cast does. So, I mean, the opportunities that the kids are having in class to see what does it really look like. It's not you're going to get there and then you're going to find out. They're finding out in class. The top pictures are cadets at Basic Leadership Training Weekend. That was a fantastic weekend for them to learn in our NJROTC program, squid dissection. She wouldn't go, and I missed it. Unfortunately, I heard it smelled really good, but the kids are really getting to do some pretty amazing things. This was Safe Boats when they came. our environmental science class in the garden, and then our nutrition and wellness students in the kitchen. So again, all of these are hands-on. They're getting to do the actual stuff in CTE programs. This is very exciting to me, mostly, like, obviously my passion, DECA, I love them, but Skills USA this year, we didn't have anybody attend Skills USA State last year, and we've really brought it back. The instructors have been great, and we had all of these students qualify in all 4 areas, which was fantastic. DECA is at state now. Skills will go at the end of March. HOSA goes in the middle of March. TSA goes at the end of, or during spring break. He actually has all of these kids that are giving up their spring break to go to TSA and Spokane. And then FBLA will compete at the end of April. So we have all of these students, and if you notice, there's no real names that transfer between. All of these students are tremendous in their areas and have qualified for the state competitions. And last but not least, what's next? We're looking at Core Plus construction. We're going to roll that out hopefully as a 1-period class to start with. Woodshop is one of our highest number classes. Everybody loves to take that. So instead of taking 3 periods away from that, we're going to do a 1 period. We're going to see how it rolls out, take a look at it, do a slow roll. The state Core Plus construction people actually came to the high school, toured our facilities, and want to use us as a role model for a rural school district for a rollout of that program. So we're very excited about that. One thing that I don't have up here is we're going to be looking at creating the freshman seminar class that we have right now, converting that over to career choices and being able to do the high school and beyond plan, which the state is changing over to School Links. And so we'll be able to work with that in that context. We're also looking at leadership, an additional framework for leadership, and biomedics at the middle school level. So lots coming up that we're trying to make sure that we still have additional stuff for. So thank you for your support. We always appreciate it. And CTE has its own realm, but it's a very important part of what we do and giving our kids the opportunities for graduation pathways, but not just that, but the idea of what can I do? There is something that's there for me. So thank you very much.
Oh, this is great.
Thank you.
That is just great.
But I really appreciate this.
Yeah, me too.
You know who else would appreciate this? Jeff Clark. Mr. Clark had a little thing made for, it wasn't as nice as this, but something that I kept in my wallet about a certain law that people were always confused about.
Okay.
But
This is great.
you think I'm not going to use this? You are wrong, because I absolutely am. You'd be shocked how many people don't know what we do. What you all do, not what we do. We don't do anything.
It's all of us,
We
right?
just sit
It
here and
takes
look cute.
everybody.
You guys are doing some.
And you do that well too.
You guys are doing some really impressive work.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
And
Yes, sir.
go Riders.
Go Riders
right.
for Saturday. Yes.
Yes.
I was really happy to see that in spite of our student population dropping, that every year you're just increasing
to grow.
participation. Yeah.
And I think it's, we have such a robust program of so many courses that kids have opportunities in so many areas to really find their niche. What do they like? And a lot of times as freshmen, they'll experience 1 or 2 classes and then they'll be like, well, that's not really for me. And it's like, but this is, and where can I pursue this at? Which is really what I think we want to be able to give them.
Yeah. And it seems like it would be a draw for the district.
Yeah.
Too.
I want to mention that we all know Port Booking News, and Alan and Cindy who sold it, but their daughter is now a captain on a ferry.
She is.
Gone through, and you know I don't know exactly what she did, but she is now captaining or assistant captain or whatever you might call it.
I believe she's actually a captain,
Yeah.
and we're hoping to get her to come in and talk
Oh,
to the
you
kids.
should.
So, and that is one of the things what we're really looking for is anytime those speakers can come in, and especially if they're PA grads, how much better does that make it for our kids to see what their opportunities are?
It's amazing, and that she's a woman. I have to comment on that too.
Yes.
That she had the opportunity to go through whatever training it takes, and I know it's pretty extensive. So.
Right.
And allowing them to see all of these opportunities here builds that hope, right? And it builds on their strengths, and they get to feel like a part of their education. They get to see themselves, and when we have women in leadership, our kids get to see themselves as possible, right?
Absolutely.
Building that connection with their future and giving them that hope. And CTE does that in a way that, like, you can't get in other places. English is important. Math is important. What our kids are good at is also so important. So it's been a really incredible adventure to be a part of this.
Well, they'll be able to take care of themselves. They'll
Right.
make very good money.
Right.
And I'm very excited about CTE.
Thank you.
Thank you
We
for what
kind of
you
love
do.
it.
I know you do, and it shows. Thank you.
Any other questions for us?
No questions, just comments. So, great job. The report was awesome. I love to see the work that you all are doing, and the continued desire to, the continued innovation to continue to add interest-based programs. And so for your leadership there, Jen and Shanna, thank you very much. Great job. I too, as Kirsten referenced, even though we have a decline in enrollment, our CTE programs are continuing to increase in enrollment. And that sends a loud and clear message to us in our community as to the importance of these programs. I love to see the community connections that you're making and, getting the partnerships across our community. That's been a goal of ours for many years now, and you guys are executing that tremendously. So thank you very much. And I also want to add, we've had, in my opinion, I've only been here 7 years, but we've had phenomenal CTE programs from the get-go. But in previous models, like the high school, it used to be viewed, it used to feel like when you would go to the high school that the CTE programs were a school within a school. 7 years ago. Now it feels so much different. It feels like this is a part of your comprehensive Port Angeles High School.
Absolutely.
For that, Jeff, thank you for your leadership there. It's important that, it's accepted as this is part of the full experience of high school. And so it's not in addition to. So thank you for all of your leadership for making that work. I'm excited, even though I'm not going to be here, I'm excited for the next phase. And I'm going to kind of plant the seed of where the next phase could be. You talked about work-based programs, the site-based side of that and the internships. I'm excited to see that happen in the future. That's the next big initiative. Hard one. That's not easy to navigate. But the next big initiative for our district to not only have all of these glorious, phenomenal programs with robust offerings, but now how can we apply that in the field? So I know you're thinking about it, and I know it's on the to-do list.
I will mention, though, too, we do have a student that's going to apply for the Forma internship that is at Stevens.
Awesome.
So he is very, very excited about it. We just have to finish the paperwork with him in this next week and get it to Forma, and hopefully it'll work for them too. And then he would be on site this summer in an internship role for Forma. And his whole desire is to do construction management. And so this is a perfect fit for him and a great opportunity, I think, for that building that what you're talking about.
Yeah,
So.
and that's very difficult to do. And so I appreciate the time and the effort that each of you put into connecting the dots to pull something like that off. And so I'm pretty excited to watch what the future holds for our programs.
Really
Thank you for
excited.
your leadership.
Thank you.
These are our kids, and they're worth it.
And that's what we chose Forma for. We said, what are you going to do for our students?
Mhm.
And they said, oh, we have all sorts of stuff. So I'm so happy to hear you say that they're following through with that.
Mm-hmm.
Can I audit any of these? Like just show up?
Yeah,
Human
anytime.
period accounting or
You're
something?
always.
Absolutely.
I'll be there every day. So I'll be doing the homework.
I'm sure
let me
Bernie
know.
would love it.
I think probably.
Let me know first.
Be careful.
I'll tell you every morning. I'm headed to this.
All right.
Thank you guys so much.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you guys for your
Well
time.
done. Well done. Beautiful, beautiful.
Okay, and now we're up to our teaching and learning report. Michelle Olson. I've heard of her.
Wow, all that is hard to follow, right?
that's
Franklin and then CTE. But again, we have so much to be proud of in our district. The work that our staff are doing across the district, whether it's the high school or Franklin, is nothing short of incredible. And that's just two. and it's happening at every site. So it's exciting. So what I'm going to share tonight isn't nearly as exciting, but I want to kind of give you an update because it is exciting in the fact that we're starting to see an impact of having systems and having focused instruction and giving students what they need at every level. So we're going to talk first about DIBELS, and just as a reminder, DIBELS is one of the assessments that we give district-wide. It's not a state assessment, and it's measuring students in their reading. So each student is tested one-on-one to see their reading skills as it relates to grade level material. So next slide. I wanted to remind you before we get started kind of where we have been over the last few years. Back to 1920, right, we had COVID. The next year we started with continuing remote learning. And that was also the year where we saw the House of Learning for the tribe really take hold and get started. And then we decided we were going to pilot a new curriculum in 2021, and we rolled it out in 21-22. And at the time, I don't know if you remember, but of course we had all these things going on, and there was lots of questions like, really, is this the time? It was the time. We really needed to make sure we were providing a guaranteed and viable curriculum. And what we're going to see tonight is some of the results of that. In addition, district-wide, that was also when we started our transition to kindergarten program. And so with that program, that provides to our earliest learners the skills that they need to be more successful in kindergarten. Along with that, in 22-23 was when we began professional learning communities. And as you heard tonight with Franklin, that's where the work is happening, right? That's where teachers are talking about standards, about assessments, about student by student and what they're going to do to impact. Right on the heels of that, and it goes with it, is starting our work with multi-tiered systems of support. And so for teachers within those PLCs, talking about the core, as you heard tonight, talking about what do we do when students are showing that they need more support, or what are we doing when they've mastered it. We are continuing to refine and grow those systems. And so when we look at this year, 3 years, our year 3 of PLCs, so we're continuing that work, year 3 of transition to kindergarten, year 2 of MTSS, and then, as Brittany alluded to earlier, year 1 of the additional behavior support for students in special education at the elementaries. And you all provided that for us and gave us the okay to do that. And we're seeing what a difference that is making in every elementary, where that specialist can work alongside our resource teachers to really go more in depth to provide the behavior supports for those students, because they don't magically learn those behaviors. We have to teach them, and it has to be intentional. And so this is year 1. We're going to see the impact of that, not only on our school discipline and culture, but the fact is that when you can be regulated and your friend can be regulated, we know that learning's going to improve. So all of these factors are going into what we're going to see tonight with our data. I kind of skip over this a little bit. We've talked about this a lot tonight, but just the importance of the different tiers and the interventions and the supports. So this is exciting, and Brittany talked about this. So this is a snapshot of our kindergarten data district-wide. At the top, at the beginning of the year, you can see just right over 20% of students at or above benchmark. And we just finished our mid-year, and we're just about at 60. And this is only January. And so knowing that our goal is 100% and being excited about what our teams are going to be able to do between now and June. This is, again, just a snapshot by school. Every school, right, you know who walks in your door, you just don't know who that's going to be, what their skill set is. But what this slide shows is that every single school is making progress with their students. And we can't expect that that progress is going to look the same at every school because the needs are different. But what we can commit to in the Port Angeles School District is that we're going to have systems at every school to guarantee that your child is going to receive, number one, core instruction, number two, if they struggle or need a challenge, that we're going to provide that within our tiered systems. And that's a pretty amazing guarantee that we can make as a system that you can make as a board.
Do we see, I'm sorry, in that last slide, did we see an effective transition to kindergarten? Well, this is kindergarten this year. Never mind, carry on, my bad. Kids who had been in TTK last year, are we seeing the schools that have a higher number or not?
Yes, and what we want to do is dig a little bit deeper into that. We are looking at our WA Kids data, and what we want to go deeper into that is we give WA Kids to our transitional kindergarten students, and the next step for us is to compare where they were in TK and where they're ending up as a kindergarten student. As our first graders, I wanted to put kindergarten up there as well. So when they were in kindergarten last year, you can see on the blue, they started off there at that 20% and, ended, got to the middle of the year, about 40. Now, fast forward, these guys are first grade right now. So they came in, below 40. But look at where they are mid-year as first graders. Again, phenomenal growth, but that's not good enough, right? We're aiming for 100%. And so again, across each school, and if you go to the next slide, you can see here, each school we are tracking from the beginning of year kindergarten, this is the same cohort, to beginning the year first grade to current middle of the year. And so what we're looking for is that positive trend, right? Giving students what they need. Now, in a system like ours, we have 5 elementaries. And what's key when you have a multi-tiered system of support that is not only at the schools, but across the district that you're learning from each other. And that's what we have happening. We had a group at Jefferson under Rhonda's leadership that really got intentional with their supports around RTI and the concept of a tier 2 and tier 3. They talked about that with principals. They talked about it with Title I teachers. And so much so that Franklin was like, whoa, what is Jefferson doing? They're calling it the Jefferson Way. And they tried it, and you heard Brittany talk about that, and you saw her data. So in a system in our district, we want to encourage that sharing, not just at their schools, but across the district. And even this week, I met with all the Title I teachers. They're still talking about that, and other schools are asking questions and looking for ways to build on it. So that's the power of our PLCs, and that's what's going to change the learning outcomes for our students.
May I stop you just a minute? Isn't that also showing the power of the 4-year-old program?
Yes.
I mean, if we're going to go down there and beg for money for 4-year-olds, this is the kind of information that we need to take with us.
Yeah, because what we know, and you know this more than anyone, right? Early intervention is where it's at. The amount of time that you have to intervene for a child who's struggling at 4 years old is massively different than when they get to first grade or second grade. So if we can identify those needs in those students and give them what they need, they are less likely to need supports like special ed moving to the future. And again, that's another positive for our district is when we have a TTK program, we're intervening early and they're less likely to go down that path. And what I want to tell you is coming up in March, we're going to talk about TTK. We're going to actually have the teachers talk to you about what they're doing, about their data, and we have some parents that want to come in and share their stories and talk to you. So you're going to hear a little bit more about that in March. Okay.
Thank you.
I got distracted. All right. So again, on this one, we can see kindergarten first and now second. And again, if you're remembering from the earlier slide, one key variable that we have is now we have this district-wide curriculum that is the best of the best. And so we're starting to see that impact, and you can see that across. Look at this one, really makes my heart happy. So this is the same cohort. I want to remind you of that. So going back 21, 22, we know what that year looked like for learning. We also know that was when we started this work around the new curriculum. And take a look at that growth. This is at or above all the way to third grade. This is just where we're at right now in January. So I'm excited to think about where we're going to be as we move into June. But we're talking about what is it going to take to get all students there. And in our Title I meeting, we're looking at data. They're putting together, similar to what you saw in Brittany's slide, we want to make sure that consistently across our schools that our core is tight, that what we're using as Tier 2, if it's effective at one school, right, we want to make sure that we're using that across all of our schools. And then we want to get specific to what is it that we're doing at Tier 3 that's having an impact. And then we do that by having our PLCs. All right, so again, by school, every school making incredible progress and doing great work. Fourth grade. Again, keep in mind for fourth grade, and finally, at some point, we will get past the COVID factor, I hope. But notice with these kiddos, right, when you go back to 2021, this is when they were in kindergarten. And so despite that, and given our great teachers and our parents' support, we are continuing to make progress with this group that was highly impacted in some really critical years. So why does that happen? That is strong teaching, a solid core curriculum, and interventions, and then tracking to see if we're making progress. So again, by fourth grade, see everybody's doing the work. Next slide. Fifth grade. And again, to be expected that we are going to have dips and looking at that. And every school, again, is going into their data, looking at what needs to be done. And our goal, 100%. So we're going to keep working. Fifth grade by school. And then our sixth grade. So I want to pause here. One of the pieces we talked about at our Title I meeting is what this data says to us. And one of the things it said to our team was a concern about them being ready for what was going to be asked of them at the middle school. And so we talked about, again, making progress this year, towards the end of the year, but what is it that we need to do right now and as we go into summer to partner with our seventh grade teachers to make sure that they are, number one, know what the data is telling them, know where some of the struggles are, because if we're seeing that 60% of our sixth graders going in are not quite at grade level, then we need to respond to that. So if it's predictable, it's preventable. So what are we going to do over the summer to really beef up what we're doing at the seventh grade? So that's just an area of opportunity, but again, a conversation across levels and continuing to refine our instruction. And you can see sixth grade there. And so far as achievements and next successes, really, we've improved our reading benchmarks district-wide. We've shown an effective integration of our new curriculum. And next steps, we want to continue to enhance our teacher training. And what we're seeing across the buildings is they're wanting more training to better understand what's involved in becoming a successful reader. And it's complicated, but what we've found is for the teachers that have done that professional development, their instruction is way more intentional and they feel more confident. So we want to continue to refine that. We want to continue as well with our MTSS work and our PLC processes and continuing to connect all of that back to best practices as it relates to OSPI. So still a lot of work to do, but every staff member is excited for the progress, which motivates people to continue to want to learn. So that's a snapshot just of Dibbles. And then the next one is another assessment. And our map, to separate it out from Dibbles. So Dibbles is really about how can you read, right? We're listening to them read. And when you get into map, it's about the application. So you have to be able to read it, and then now we're asking you to think about what you're reading. So with data at any time, you're not only going to look at just one pocket of data, you want to look at multiple pockets and triangulate that data to get a sense of how the system's doing. So for the map, we do begin giving that to students in second grade, and we can measure growth over time. For the map, what they're looking at is the percentage of students that are at or above the 41st percentile. And they choose that because statistically and with their research, they show that those students then will be at grade level as they approach the end of their school year. So right now, if we look at our second grade students last year, you can see that we had 50% at that 41st percentile. But now at third grade, and we're again comparing cohorts, we're at 72%. So that is again showcasing, I think, the strong growth, but also matching what we're seeing with Dibbles. So that part for teachers is encouraging. When they're able to look at this map data, they are able to go deeper into it by strand and see where the strengths are, where are those areas that they still need additional focus. And they will give the map one more time at the end of the year, so we'll be able to see that continued growth. And the next one, we look at fourth grade, and again, looking at the cohorts as we are at third grade to fourth grade. We want to get, right, our goal is 100%, and so my heart gets very happy when I start to see 68%, 76%. We are headed in the right direction. The next slide shows our fifth grade, and remember we kind of talked about fifth grade with Dibbles, and we saw a little bit of a decrease. What we see here on the slide is it has increased by a percentage, but we know that's an area we want to dig deeper in. And so as we're talking at our Title I meetings, one of the things they're looking at is what are we doing at the primary that maybe we want to do at the intermediate? And do we do the same things? Do we do something different? Roosevelt is doing some great work at the upper end, and they're sharing out their strategies. If we move to sixth grade, again, for our sixth grade, we see them improving a little bit over fifth grade, but as I shared earlier, yes, progress, but not good enough, and so now we're going to get into how we can improve that. For the map, this is also an assessment that goes to the middle school. And so here you can see our sixth grade data. We had 69% at or above, and then we had a little bit of a drop at seventh. I want to quantify the numbers a little bit, because what does that mean when we look at 69% to 61%? About a 10% drop. We have roughly about 225 seventh graders. So we have about 22 students that we saw decline relative to the standard. And that is significant. When you think of 22, that's almost a class. So what we're doing at the middle school, and Melissa's leadership has been incredible, and that of her team. With their PLC model, they've identified their essential standards. They've created their formative assessments. And they were kind of hanging out in that land for a little while. Towards the end of last year, they decided as a school to commit to creating a time during the school day that every student could get what they need to be successful. And they call that flex time. And she talked about that, I think, a while back. So the flex time is that every day for a half hour, students some are at lunch and others are in flex. So you go to your flex time teacher And how it started off initially was that each day Melissa would give a direction, a focus. One of those or two of those would be around SEL. Then it was kind of teacher choice, helping students look at their planners, look at Skyward. And that was great. But we needed to take it up the next level, but you have to have staff ready for that. If Melissa's ready or I'm ready, but they're not, it's not going to work. So through the PLC process, through those conversations that Melissa was having, the team said, how about we look at our map data and we decide which students we want to have focus in on ELA. So what they did at this last winter assessment, they identified who those students were. They gave the names to Melissa. The team during their PLC designed what the instruction was going to be like during that flex time. And then 2 weeks ago, for the entire week, those students who were identified as needing more support, they went to those ELA teachers. Now, the ELA teachers usually have a flex class, but they shuffled those students out. So those students, for 5 days, had intentionally designed instruction to fill the gap. Last week, it was math, same concept, right? But the power is the teachers wanted it, right? They're looking at the data, and now they're motivated to see how students are going to do on these assessments. And you might ask, well, how does special education fit into that? How does behavior work fit into that? Because those are big needs at the high school. So the answer is, again, within an MTS system, you can look at the data and identify students that need support. With our special education students, sometimes what can be a barrier is them having the opportunity and support to complete their actual classroom work. They just need a little more assistance. So what they designed is during that flex time, that those students who are receiving special ed who have shown a need, they are working with their case manager for that entire time. And what we're seeing already is that students are able to get extra help on concepts to complete the work. And right, when you complete the work and you're turning that in and you're seeing your grade going up and you're participating, that is a positive impact. And then we want to talk about students who are struggling with behaviors. The team at Stevens every week is meeting on students and looking at their behaviors. They know that 80% of their kids are good to go, but they know there's that 15% that are going to need some tier 2. And it has to be during the school day. And what we want to do is have it so that they're not missing any other key instruction. That's an important part of MTSS. So they're given that support during that flex time. So they've identified which counselor, right? We have 2 counselors, and we have a drug and alcohol counselor. We have our 2 Native American support staff. We have AmeriCorps. They're taking those students, identifying what they need, what they're going to work on, and then they're getting that instruction during flex time, and they're not missing their instruction. So we'll be watching the data as we come up to the spring to see the impact of that. But what we know is that's best practice, and that's what OSPI is looking for, is our schools using data and then coming up with best practices. So there's a lot going on. So I'm excited about that and that opportunity at our middle school to improve outcomes for our students. And then for our 8th grade, same piece, same concept that we're working on there. We want them to have all the skills that they need to be ready as they go into 9th grade. And overall, our plan of action, one of the things I'm most proud of about our district is that we have our strategic plan that guides all of our work. And within that, we have called out the importance of using PLCs and MTSS to improve student learning. And that wasn't a one-off, right? We just didn't do it one year and then go on to the next thing. We've committed to doing that because we know that over time, right, it's going to take 3 to 5 years to start to get those pieces entrenched into our practice, but it will make a difference, and we're already seeing that. And so can you imagine what it's going to look like in another 1 to 2 years when we start to fine-tune that and schools are sharing with each other. It's going to be pretty incredible. And again, just another reason the importance of our strategic plan and your guidance on that. So that's a lot. I know I get excited about the data. Do you have any questions for me?
I have a comment.
Okay.
I know what the cherry is on top of the beautiful banana split you just showed us. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Would you like to join in with me when I say balanced calendar?
Oh.
That would do it. I'm convinced that would do it. If we could balance.
You have a couple of die-hard balanced calendar people here. So,
The research is there.
the research is really very clear. I mean, you can see when you're looking at end of years to beginning of years, you see that drop. It might be just 5%, it might be 10%, but that's.
You see it every year.
We all know that that is happening, and we're spending a lot of time
Trying to make it up.
trying to spend some time to get kids caught back to where they were. But yeah, we'll get
Balanced calendar, the cherry on top.
All right. Duly noted. Thank you. All right. Thank you.
That was a great report. Thanks.
Any other comments?
No? Anybody else?
Great report, Michelle. I really appreciate seeing your attention to detail on the areas of focus. And it's exciting to see your level of detail of understanding the why may be occurring and working with building leaders to address, system issues, to address learning gaps. So great job. And, great report tonight. As it relates to balanced calendar, and I will say, I appreciate these two especially holding off until we could pass a capital campaign. But I will.
promised I would.
I will gladly.
I made a promise.
Oh,
I will-
now we know the rest of the story.
I also think balanced calendar is a great concept, but I will happily lay that in the foundation for the next superintendent, so they can take that on. But I
Many
agree.
pieces.
I think, if you look at, you did a really nice job, Michelle, of sharing the cohort data from year to year,
Yeah,
year over
that's-
year, and you can see that regressive drop, during the summer. So it's a viable comment, and it's something that this district will have.
Statewide conversation.
This district will have to engage in a conversation around that in the coming months.
Yes.
So, thank you.
Right. Thank you.
All right, Karen, you're up. She's the turkey. I didn't bring it up at all.
I am a turkey. Cock-a-doodle-doo. I didn't. I said I wouldn't do it till the bond passed. But I think it needs to be done. Hi, Karen.
Good evening. How's everyone?
Good.
It's hard to come up here and see your faces go, oh, finances.
Oh, no.
So I really want to start off with a positive. And that positive is it's jumping ahead a little bit because I'm going to report on January. But I really want to let you all know that we made it through February without having to do a loan.
Yay.
We would not be able to do that without the commitment of all of our staff.
Well
just
done.
really doing what we have to do, even though it hurts. And it's amazing. So I'm glad I could at least get a smile before
That's good.
before we turn that
That's
smile
wonderful.
upside down to a frown. I don't know. So anyway, as you can see here, we have our general fund, and it's in the black, and it's a little over $1 million. So we're slowly getting there. And going on to the next page, there's really not a whole lot of movement in any of the funds yet. We all know that with capital projects, it is sitting at 41 million, but we will start drawing that down soon. See, there you go.
Sorry. it's been
I'm
a
just
very long
teasing.
day.
Go ahead. Next one. We're running, well, in January, we, our payroll and our benefits were a little bit less, which is always nice to see.
That's always a good sign of something.
I'm sorry.
Poor
I know, it's like the dread in my gut coming up here.
No, no.
Anyway, if we could go on to the next one, please. We'll go on to our materials, supplies, and costs. You can see in January it was a little bit more, but I think it had more to do with just some of the bills that we were just trying to push off a little bit, and our Sodexo, which was, of course, in December, it's a little bit lower because most of the time the kids are out. So, but nothing really material there. And then, if we just want to jump to the very last page, because to me, that's where we're really telling this story. You can see in September, and that's that very bottom line, we started so low. It's not great, but we've come up to where we were really close this time last year. I would love to be able to say, oh, look, we're way up at where we were in 21, but I can't say that. But we're getting there. It's slow and it's steady. But again, our staff has worked very, very hard to continue to only get what we essentially need, and that's hard. So were there any questions?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's
Our staff is working really, really hard. We really are. A lot of conversations, some tears.
So as Karen referenced, this really tells the story.
Yeah.
Bucking the trend. If we would have gone without intervention, we'd have been likely looking at in the red, during this month. And so, again, it comes at a cost. Our staff is being, very diligent and essential spending only, but we are making a difference. And I do have to give props to Karen. Karen is learning and growing, and her level of accountability and her knowledge of all the systems in such a short period of time, she's doing a phenomenal job. So Karen, keep up the good work, and I love to see your growth.
Thank you.
I love to see it. Great job. If you could go back to that real quick, Casey. So if it looks like, and I'm not gonna go on official record, but it looks like we know we're going to make it through February without taking an interfund loan. I believe there's a chance we'll do it in March as well if we continue this same trend, which is phenomenal. I wouldn't have guessed that back in November. So we still have the June challenge, and what we will do once we get through March, Karen and I will start working on the plan for June, and just what we will need to do to execute to navigate that 5% allocation from the state, which really creates that dip. So we'll get through March, and so we'll spend our spring break and other times trying to problem solve the June, but we're going to make it. And our goal right now, I couldn't have said this 4 months ago, our goal right now is to not, take an interfund loan. So that's the goal. And I'm going to hope that we can get there. And with Karen's leadership, I think we can. So good job.
Pressure. No pressure at all.
I love to put pressure on you.
Yeah. Thanks.
So, nice job.
I think I just want to go join the CTE group and just, because I'll tell you, I'm excited about that. Okay, so we can go on to our February enrollment. And we did have a drop between January and February, a little bit, and I really do attribute this to viruses. And I think we all know somebody, including Jen, as she was up here, the colds, they've just been really bad, and a lot of our kids are out. But I'm hopeful it'll pick back up. Spring's coming, spring sports are coming, so hopefully we're gonna go back up. So we are still running a little bit, I think it's about 19 away from what was budgeted. We're trying. That's the best I can say. We are really, really trying. And then on that one, where am I? I'm lost here. What do I have?
So with that, you can see we're really leveled off. Our let's see what that's a 6-month average is 3286. So as Karen referenced, 19 FTE below what we budgeted. That number's palatable. Again, looking back at September, you could see the concerns when we're nearly 50 FTE or right at 50 or right around 50 FTE under. So we have recovered to a certain degree. I'm gonna hope that, our springtime, just as last year, our ALE program, CView, Mace and the team did a really good job of kind of creating that niche. We're going to help students cross the finish line for graduation. So
Did you wanna
our
jump
hope
over to
is that we
the CView
can
Academy
see that
page?
again. So.
I had a quick question. I always thought that the FTEs and headcount was based on actual students enrolled in the district, but it sounds like attendance,
No.
people being sick also impacts it. Yes? No?
It does impact it if they are present on what we call count day.
Oh,
Well, they can be sick on count day, but if they're sick for greater than, I believe it's 20 days, once they've been out of school for 20 days, we have to unenrollment them.
Right.
So if it's a sickness that keeps them out for an extended period of time, they become unenrolled.
And is that a cumulative 20 days or 20?
It's a consecutive.
Consecutive. Got it.
Yep. Yep.
So Marty had mentioned Seaview, and I just wanted to point out to you that in January, we were at 325.93, and our February count is up to 356.40. So, the average is coming up, and I know that,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. Do you know how many of those, 29 kids came from our brick and mortar and went into Seaview versus new enrollment?
that I don't know, and I have not had the opportunity to look, but I can certainly check with Seaview if you'd like me to get back to.
That'll just give us an idea. Obviously, the numbers haven't gone up in
Okay.
overall, but
Yeah, I can check into that.
And Mace does track that data.
Yeah.
We'll
And
loop,
it is.
we'll loop Karen into that because Mace does send an email to Michelle and I on a monthly basis so that we can see out-of-district enrollees.
Oh,
So
okay,
we'll loop
yeah.
you into that, Karen.
That'd be great, and that way I could let you guys know. So, as far as our special education, we are up about 6, and I think Rhonda had predicted that, so we knew it was coming. And then our TK program looks like it's holding pretty steady. So that's where we're at. And I will get that information on Seaview and make sure that Marty has it for you. Does that work?
yeah, it's not a rush.
Okay.
There's lots of other things you gotta get to first.
Well, it's all a rush right now, so, okay, was there anything else?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
Thank you, Karen.
Thanks, Karen. You're
Thanks.
doing fine.
Yes, you are.
Awesome job.
You can't make money happen. And I got up really early. It's been a long.
Won't let me print it either, so.
No, right? Rude.
I know.
Okay. So now we're into what I like to call the lightning round. We're going into our discussion action items. We're going to go right into approval of the second reading of policy 5400, personnel leaves. This will be our second reading.
I wondered if maybe, because Marty was not here the last time, if there's anything, since we didn't get to discuss.
I have nothing to
sometimes-
add. This is a very simple
Okay,
change to the leave, self-explanatory.
okay. I move policy 5400, personnel leaves.
I second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? All in
And-
favor? Oh,
And the biggest change in that is removing the COVID language. When we went into COVID, we were required to add COVID leave, and now excluding that is the biggest change.
okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fine. Any discussion based on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so that takes us to 8.02, approval of the second reading of policy 2022, electronic resources and internet safety.
I move to approve 802, 2022. I said, get my glasses.
No, it's 8.02.
I'm sorry.
You got that part, yeah.
Okay.
All right, do we have a second on that?
Second.
Second. Any discussion around this? No? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so now 8.03, approval of the second reading of policy 2410, high school graduation requirements.
I move to approve second reading of policy 2410.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion around this? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. So now, did we have any community comments?
We do
No
not.
community comments. Then we go to board comments. We're gonna start down there. We've lost your little name badge.
Oh,
but
I think it fell off.
yeah, I think when all of us were up there.
There we go.
Okay.
Hey. I am happy to be here today. Well, we made it through the winter, which is always kind of a little bit of a stressful time, midterms and everything, and everyone's very excited about springtime. Recently, they talked about all the clubs going to state, and I was going to talk about that today. But our HOSA club raised $500 in 1 week to fund their trip to state, which was very impressive that they were able to do that. Our knowledgeable team also qualified for state, which was exciting. And one thing that I thought was really cool that was happening was that the art students are having the opportunity to show their artwork down at the wharf right in the little art place near Wellies. They're getting to show their art there, which I think is really cool. It's getting appreciated by the community. And yeah, I was going to talk about people qualifying in Skills USA because that recently happened. And I have a lot of friends, especially girls, who are getting more interested in those trades as it's becoming like more well known that we're having those programs. And so that's been really cool to see. And I'm a little jealous because I'm a senior and I don't get to take part in those things for much longer. But if I could go back, I definitely would because the program's amazing now. That is all I have, unless any of you have any questions for what's happening at the high school.
Choir, did you mention?
Oh, yes, for choir. I was mentioning this earlier. Our choir recently participated in the WMEA All-State Choir in Spokane. So we had to each individually send in an audition, and then if we were chosen, then we got to sing with kids from all over the state. So 14 of us qualified to go, and we got to go to Spokane for a weekend and sing with 200 of the best singers in the state, which was really nice. Yeah.
Amazing.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
It's great.
Excellent. All right.
I don't have anything.
Yeah, because you've not been doing anything. You could say what you've done, and then the rest of us could just say, yeah, what Stan said. All right, Kirsten, you'll have to take one for the team.
Yep, we're all busy with the superintendent search, which I think is going well. I have attendance meetings most weeks, a couple at a time. And then I did the Trust Land Advisory Committee call, and there were two representatives from the governor's office who manage policy, and one at least is for natural resources. And it was a really good meeting because they didn't seem to know much. So that was kind of interesting. So, and I had a couple opportunities to talk about how it's impacting us directly, and they seemed responsive to that. So that was good. And there's one more thing I want to say about it, but I'm going to wait till after Marty's done.
Oh, a teaser, if you will. All right, Mary?
I've been doing the same, so yeah, I have nothing to add. We're working on the superintendent search.
I attended the PAEF, the Ed Foundation meeting, and they are very interested in all of us attending their annual fundraiser. And you know, right now I don't have my calendar and I can't remember when it is. Sarah,
Which one is this?
This is Ed Foundation. They do every year. We go.
It's on the 14th of March.
And it's at Field Hall, and I think it's $60, $75, $100.
$100 per seat.
And I already have my ticket.
Have you gotten tickets to that yet?
No.
No. Okay. All right.
But you're invited and encouraged to come if you can.
Yeah.
They wanted me to be sure and make sure you were invited.
And it's the 14th of March.
14th of March.
Is that Saturday night, Friday night?
It's a Friday
Friday
night.
night.
Friday night. And that's all for me, Sarah.
All right, good. I am, yeah, same. That's all we have to say. It's been a lot of long days, really long days, a lot of thinking. I really appreciate you all staying with it, and that 10-hour whatever day the other night
I think
was,
that was 12.
it was a long time, and I
7 to
appreciate that
7.
you all made it through. I might have planned it differently in hindsight, but still, we're all doing the work, and we're back at it 9 a.m. And yeah, and we welcome back our superintendent du jour. We've missed you, sir.
I've been here all week.
Well, we haven't.
But
Okay, all right.
we've been away.
Wait, can I get away with saying same? No.
You
Okay.
can't, sir.
All right. So I have a few topics to discuss real quick here. One, DNR and state trust lands. I want to give an update. This week I attended a revenue advisory committee meeting at the county level, which again is Randy Johnson is the commissioner in charge of this group. Connie Bouveas, I think I'm pronouncing her, Bouvet, is the facilitator of the group from the port. All the junior taxing districts are there, and we just learned more about the state trust lands and the county forest lands. What we had an opportunity to listen to this week was Dave Updegrove, the new lands commissioner, came in and shared his vision for his time in office. He reported that he has put a 6-month pause on all new all new forest lands to be presented for sale. He is not putting a pause on any forest lands that were approved prior to him taking the seat. Okay, so those three pieces of land that we've talked about, Parched, Alley Cat, and Treewell, Alley Cat did not make it through because of the cooperative or the work that needs to be done with the Lower Elwha Clallam tribe. The other 2 parcels were sold and are pending right now. Dave reported that there are 33 parcels of land that have been sold, or not, I'm sorry, not parcels of land, but cuts that have been sold across the state of Washington, and 30 of those 33 are under court litigation. So he stated, and I agree, that's not a sustainable model. You know, if you have 33 harvests scheduled and you're legally challenged in 30 of the 33, that's a challenge. So he justified his pause to say he wanted to review how and when forest lands were harvested. And so he extended on that to include, as we, I didn't know how and when, because they have plans. They know when each of these parcels will come up for sale. The more we pressed him, the more I pressed him, it evolved to having a better understanding of the parcels of land, meaning, the mandatory set-asides for the Endangered Species Act. We know that, knowing more about that piece of land. Lands that are connected to waterways, having a better understanding of where that land is, what kind of tree cover we have in that area, and most importantly, old growth. Okay, the definition of old growth, you hear the environmental groups out there talking a lot about old growth, and every parcel of land out here is old growth. That's not true. Old growth is defined as pre-1850. Okay, so the lands that we're talking about that have been sold in Clallam County, most of the land, there might be some old growth on that piece of property, and that's what Dave wants to learn more about, like where is the old growth? And the DNR already does a phenomenal job. When they survey their lands, they go out and they not only corner it off, but they go within the land and protect the old growth, protect the endangered species, like the requirements of the Endangered Species Act. So all of that is predetermined prior to the sale. Okay, so, but he's hopeful that if he can get a better understanding of of the parcels of land pre-sale, that there can be bridges built with environmental groups around not so much litigation in courts. That's his hope. He confirmed that with, he stated that the land, or that he had a very professional staff that was highly qualified, and I agree. So as I pushed him a little bit on some other concepts, it came out that really the pause was determined based on his philosophical differences between the former commissioner and now him, and how to manage these forest lands. He assured the group, and I hope he was telling the truth, but he assured the group that his desire is not to remove acreage from harvestable timber. His goal is to continue to harvest timber across the state of Washington. That's the way I heard it. So he spoke really positive words. I'm not sure everybody in the room was completely on board or agreed or thought that maybe he was fully transparent, but I hope he is.
Now, our two that have gone through, are they?
They are. They're under litigation at this point in
That's
time.
right.
Yeah. So, so the Treewell and the Parched are currently facing litigation. So, here in Clallam County.
So the litigation is county by county?
I believe it's here. I can't say that, but it is pending litigation. So, so that's a little bit about the DNR. We pressed him on, we meaning fire chiefs, fire commissioners, the port, the county commissioners, the port, I'm sorry, I said the port, library, hospital. Everybody pressed him on like, okay, we understand your 6-month pause, but this land, the land we're talking about right here is very controversial because it's county land that DNR manages. And so it's very different from state forest lands. The state, DNR, and the board and the commissioner, one school of thought is they can put a stop to state forest lands, but county forest lands, they just manage the land for us. Should be a local decision. This is the argument that locals are making. The county trust lands should be determined locally whether you harvest or not. And so there was talk at the RAC meeting around potential litigation on that very piece, and there's a lot of hope that it won't go to that. But it's a pretty contentious issue right now. It's moving along very slowly. That's all that's what I can report now. Second piece is, so the other thing that's progressing even better than that is our capital projects and breaking ground and starting construction at Stevens Middle School, which I know everybody wants to hear. So we are in now the construction documents phase of the design process. There's 3 design phases, and we're in the last phase of designing the building. So construction documents are being built or put together right now with the vision of breaking ground on the first tier of work mid-May. So right around the corner. So with that being said, I wanna schedule a breaking ground ceremony, because on April 14th at the middle school, you're going to start seeing, you're not going to see construction, but on the week of April 14th, not the 14th, the week of April 14th, you're going to start seeing construction fences going up. You're going to start to see the contractor mobilize and bringing in their trailers and their equipment to start the work. So that's the week of the 14th of April. They plan on starting the work about a month later and getting the subs on site and starting the foundation work, et cetera. But I would like the board to take a look at your calendars tonight, and I've looked at our calendars, and I'd like to do a groundbreaking ceremony that's not too soon and not too late. I'm looking at Saturday, April 12th, which would be the week before the construction fences start to go up. Does anybody have I don't need to know times right now, but does anybody have a major conflict on April 12th?
I do
Because
not.
I want you all there.
I can be there. I'll have to check the home calendar. This calendar's clear.
Okay, so if you could get back to me, I have not scheduled anything yet. I wanted to get your approval first, but if the April 12th works, we're going to put together a groundbreaking ceremony and get all the key players out there, and it'll be a Saturday. I think a Saturday is the right day for it, so anybody and everybody that wants to come out and join this, glorious event, it's going to be a big deal. So beginning of many glorious years here in the Port Angeles School District and putting together buildings. So please get back to me. If you could get back to me by end of day tomorrow, I'd appreciate it so that we can start the work on designing this glorious event.
Good for me there. I got you back to you.
All right. Thank you, Sarah. There was one more thing that I wanted to talk about, but I'll let Kirsten go, and then if I remember, I'll finish up.
During the phone call, Dwayne Emmons came on to the call about halfway through the TLAC call, who's the Assistant Deputy Supervisor for DNR. And he didn't know where any of us were from, but he brought up the meeting that you were at and talked about how there were all these junior taxing districts there, all these school districts there. And he said, but man, Port Angeles, they just told us what the real impacts were. That was the best discussion I've ever had with people talking about the impacts. So that's
Good for you.
Good.
And I bored him a little bit on the funding model for the state of Washington and regionalization, and took that opportunity. So, so I'm glad he enjoyed that.
And it was well received.
But I was articulating, it's not as big a deal if you're a regionalization district in the I-5 corridor and you get the apportionment times 18%. It's not as big a deal. Here we get 0, and so every dollar counts. And so I'm glad it resonated with at least one of the listeners.
Good, thanks for sharing.
So.
Yeah, that's good news.
So I will table whatever I need to talk about. Oh, the one other thing I wanted to mention. Now here it is. Thank you. My last thing. I'm using minutes here for a couple minutes. You guys good? All right. All right. So tonight, as I'm sitting here, and I missed last meeting. I missed it, by the way, my first board meeting I missed as a superintendent. Came back tonight and watching, what carried out tonight from heroes in our school system to the work that we're doing at one of our elementary schools to our CTE programs to the student performance. Pretty awesome. Like, we are lucky here on the peninsula. We have a great school district. So just proud to be affiliated to this work. So that's what I wanted to finish with. So thank you.
Good. Well, I'm not quite finished. I've had some conversation with others on the board, and we have a PACAC meeting coming up. And I believe that I have enough on the board who are willing to entertain the idea of at least looking into the name of our new school. And if that's something that we want to put on the PACAC agenda, I didn't think we should go ahead until we had the board wanting to entertain new school, new name, starting a whole new system in this district. And so I would like to go to the PACAC and ask them how they want that, and how they would like that to go forward. Because I didn't think we should bring it up with that group prior to the board feeling like that was a worthwhile thing. Listen,
Remember, we had, Sarah and I have been working together for 7 years, and Sandy as well, and we had an agreement, no surprises.
Yeah. This isn't a front of asking.
But remember, the PACAC is not a decision-making body.
They're not, but we are.
Okay.
And so.
Yes, you are.
But if we don't say that that's something, I'm not saying we're going to, I'm saying we're interested in it, and go to them and say, do you think
Okay.
that that's worthwhile?
We put it
Because
on.
I've spoken to some people on that committee as well who have said that that's something they would be interested in.
I think it's a courtesy that with all the work that they've done to have them hear that.
We have policy related to naming
Mhm.
facilities. So we'll pull that policy, we'll take it to the meeting, and we'll discuss it.
Thank you.
Good, that's a nice plan.
Yes.
All right, with that, okay, you guys
Slam
can,
that thing
you're all
down.
released.
Do we have to sign anything?
Yep, that's it. Oh, you didn't say where our next meeting. Sorry, what happens at our next meeting? I'm taking that back.
Our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, March 13th, 2025 at 5 p.m., room 208, Lincoln Center. There we will have teaching and learning report. Tonight we had the ELA report from Michelle. She'll do the math report to align to what you heard tonight for ELA. Communications coordinator report, we're going to remove that. We don't have a communications coordinator anymore. Social Work Month is March 1st through the 31st, so we'll recognize that. AmeriCorps is March 9th through the 17th. We will recognize that. And Classified Employee Week is next week, March 3rd through 7th, so we will recognize that as well.
All right,
March 3rd. Classified employees.
sounds good.
So we need to sign things?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I see. It's because, I was wondering why it was going weird in my calendar. It's because we're going to change it to, by then we will have springed forward.
Oh, please.
That's why my calendar is acting all wonky.
Oh,
That's yours. I stole it. All right. Is this just all me?
Just the first.
And this is everybody, okay. I'll give you your pen back, I promise. So tomorrow are you, oh, sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about tomorrow.
Okay. I'm listening.
First thing, do you guys want me to bring coffee?
Yes.
Okay, here's the question. Were you gonna do other foodstuffs, or, I'm just wondering if, I mean, if it's just coffee, we have the Keurig there, we can make coffee. I'm just trying to save you any extra.
Yeah, do you want me to bring breakfast? You guys need, we have left, so I took the leftovers from today and refrigerated them. So tomorrow when I show up, I can just maybe cut those in
Yeah,
half.
just put those out there. But we do have to have lunch.
Yeah, I know. I haven't gotten to that yet.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Did you like having the carafe of coffee in the room?
I didn't have any, I don't know.
I only get one cup, so let's just make our cups there with the Keurig.
Well, no, we have K-Cups there, but if you're only, I only want you to come if you're coming. I mean, if you're coming anyway in the morning.
I have to come. I think.
Well, tomorrow's not Saturday, tomorrow's Friday. Yeah, you can do all that, but I want you to get me some voodoo donuts. Or not voodoo, the new donut place, yeah.
Donuts?
Wouldn't that be good?
Yeah,
Has
let's
anybody
have the
tried
new
those
donuts.
yet?
I haven't.
I want to try those.
Okay. Here, this is Sarah's.
So we can make our own coffee, but yeah, if we could have some donuts, and then lunch is gonna be,
Yeah, what do you want?